Welcome to another episode of Pods and Pies. Today we have the amazing Miki Loveless, not soon to be loveless anymore. Congratulations on
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Miki Hill. That's
Miki
the
Hill.
first time I've ever said that out
That's
loud.
actually a pretty badass name.
Miki Hill.
Mickey Hill. It's
That is.
and
I
that,
think I said it in unison. That was
Mickey
great.
Hill.
1, 2.
Is that
Miki Hill.
Mickey Hill? I don't know.
Hey, I'm Danny. Who are you? Miki Hill.
Mickey
That's
Hill.
a first name, last name name.
It is, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
my
true.
old boss, Ron Ross, you can only call
Ron
him
Ross?
Ron Ross. Right?
Yeah,
You
that's
can't
tough.
just say Ron.
I don't know
Ross.
the guy, but that'd be tough.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd like Ron Ross.
I don't say Danny Reader.
No.
That's a
Yeah.
mouthful.
Do you remember?
Mickey
Do you,
Hill.
do you remember the show, Arrested Development?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
There was a lawyer that helped the family, and I think that his name was Rob Loblaw. So
Yeah.
last name was Loblaw, and if I remember this right, first name Rob, last name Loblaw, but his law firm was called Rob Loblaw Law.
Yeah. Rob, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, right. So I mean, it's kind of
That
like
is
those
so
are great
funny.
names,
Rob
but that's a
Law.
great little his firm, Rob Loblaw. Law.
Rob,
I don't know why. I mean, when you said your other guy, Ron Ross, or
Yeah, Ron Ross. Rob
I
Law.
thought of the Rob
Rob
blah
Law.
blah 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 blah.
Rob Law.
Anyway.
Law.
That was a tangent right at the start. But
Today's
our
episode brought to you by
Little Caesar Pizza.
Little Caesars. I text Mickey and said,
Okay, that's funny that you did that. Whenever somebody drinks, have you been drinking? Because
Did you just call her Mixie?
Well, because
anyone
I
that
said
starts
text.
drinking says Mixie.
I actually said text and then mixed.
It's so funny. It's only when people are drinking, so I'm
I
not
said,
fully sure that's a monster.
We're gonna have pizza, and she said I love olives. So
I hide my monsters, so you can't really tell.
You
I
did a
hate
great job.
olives.
Do
But
you?
That half is all yours now.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right.
How can you hate olives?
You want me to tell you why?
Yeah.
So I can't even remember how old I was, but we were at Lake Powell on our houseboat, and I had olives in a can, playing with them on my hand.
Mm-hmm.
Ate them. Shortly after, over the side of the houseboat, just throwing up. And it was one of those things. Like ever since then, like I get a taste of it, and I'm just like,
Can't do
I
it.
don't want to do it.
The only thing that I refuse to eat is beans. Like pinto beans, black beans, refried beans. Just being around them makes me want to vomit.
So you're not.
Beans.
Yeah, but I like lima beans.
Yeah.
But that's my equivalent, I guess, of olives. Like I just get around them.
I think everybody has something.
Or what?
Brent has cucumbers.
Cucumbers, you can't do it.
Cucumbers?
Can't do it. I know everybody looks at me like I'm nuts. They're like,
To be fair,
cucumbers are so
I'm looking at
good. I
Danny
don't know.
like he's nuts too.
I will.
Like olives.
I smell the cucumber, and they're like, you can't smell cucumbers, and I prove it. I can't smell them, and it's just I don't know. I just can't do cucumbers. I will gag. It just doesn't work.
That makes me sad for you.
I know because cucumbers. I mean, they're extremely healthy. I mean, they're just
They're fun to grow.
Multi-purpose. They're fun to grow. Easy to grow. You can have tons of them.
Yeah.
Can't do them.
Yeah, you would just have to give them all away.
I have. Yeah, I've grown them in my garden, and I
Grown
have
them and give them all.
Are you a gardener?
I am a gardener.
I'm a gardener.
Yes.
What are you growing?
Well, okay, well, nothing right now. I just moved, and so my garden, this is the first year I haven't had any garden. But I'm just more of a salsa garden guy. Like it really, I've done I've done different things. I mean, I've actually had like a rhubarb
That's cool.
plant before, which was just so random, but but mostly just salsa garden stuff. All different
It
types
seems
of
like
peppers.
you
I love
use
peppers.
That the most, like salsa gardens.
Yeah,
You
for
could
sure.
use it for
It's so
anything.
easy to grow. You
Yeah.
really can't mess it up. But
That's true.
just all different variations though. Like I do tons of variations of peppers and then variations
And
of
they're all like-
onions and then one of the cool things though is peas,
Mm-hmm.
which is so easy again. But my kids.
And they grow so fast.
They
That's
grow so fast,
fun.
and it was really cool. The first time I did it, my kids and I would actually go out into the garden and eat the peas
Mhm.
right in the garden, which actually I thought was really kind of cool. So ever since then, I try to do that.
Peas are my favorite too because of that same thing. They grow like fast and they're really pretty.
Yeah.
And you can just go out and grab them and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, peas. And they taste, I think that there's a few things that taste so much better homegrown. There's some things that I can't tell a ton of a difference. I
Oh,
can
yeah,
tell
for
a big
sure.
difference when I grow
Yeah.
herbs. I'm trying to grow carrots right now. and-
Carrots are about as easy as it gets.
Are they?
Oh, yeah, for
Because
sure.
mine are being difficult.
Really?
Yeah.
You go out and you just literally, like, you sprinkle. Like, you just sprinkle the whole thing.
Sprinkle
And then, next thing you know, I just remember, like, I have thousands of carrots. Like, I'm never gonna eat this many carrots.
Yeah, I keep
But I made
hearing
the
that
mistake
from-
of, like, dumping the whole bag of seeds right in the garden. And they just, yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. But it
There's a
doesn't
term
matter.
like
It just,
carrot.
to know that you've grown something and it actually turns out pretty cool.
It feels really good when you
Yeah.
like see, I have a summer squash plant, and right now it has like the tiniest little squash, but it looks just like a real squash, but it's like 1
Just
inch.
mini.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just cute. Like I go out there and I'm like, look at that,
Oh,
it's gonna turn
baby.
into a real squash.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Danny.
it's
You got on
fine.
the
Fine. This is, we're good.
gardening.
All right, so
gardening.
tell us, give us like the 60 to 90-second version of the proposal.
Ooh, okay. Do you want the 10-minute version?
No, never.
In 60 to 90 seconds. Give us the 60-minute version of the proposal.
You guys sit back and eat some pizza. I got
Yeah, we
this.
will. We will.
So we were down in Lake Powell, and we were shore camping in Lake Powell. Lake Powell is fun because you can do Lake Powell in so many different
Oh,
ways.
yeah.
And my family usually does houseboats, and so for like the last couple of years, like 10 years, that's what I'm used to. Like you just pull up, load all your stuff in the houseboat, and disappear in the morning. So shore camping was really fun because it was like a whole adventure. We had to we found this really cool area called Crosby Canyon, and you drive down it, but it's like when you're boating in Lake Powell and you boat down a narrow, it was like that but driving. So you get a lot more of the Lake Powell experience than like just pulling up and throwing up a tent on, a campsite. So anyway, we were down there all week and we were just kayaking and paddleboarding, having fun, happiest place on earth. I'm a lizard, like biology, I'm pretty sure I'm half lizard. And so I love sunshine, like all day long I can sit in the
You
sun,
just
but
bathe,
just,
just-
just like
Soak it up.
lay out, and everyone's like, I need shade for a minute, and I'm like still trying to get my hands in the sun,
Yeah.
of like, oh, it'd be a little cold.
Like vitamin D
Like-
deficiency will never be a
Yeah,
problem.
not my thing. So on our way back, we were with two friends while we were camping, and we decided to get out of the canyon Thursday night so we didn't have to deal with crowds on Friday. So we get out and we decided to stay in Kanab, and I'm a huge animal lover. And so I wanted to go to Best Friends Animal Sanctuary, and I was convinced that I could get Sheldon to adopt a pig. I was like, absolutely, we're getting a pig. This is gonna be good for us.
Mhm.
So we're like on our way to Best Friends Animal
Yeah,
Sanctuary.
sorry. Why pig?
So I have a bulldog, and I'm pretty sure that she's the closest thing to a pig.
Okay,
Like,
that makes sense.
yeah. And
But
so,
they are. They're-
yeah, she's super, super smart. My bulldog, incredibly smart, acts nothing like a dog. Like, she just wants to manipulate you into getting her treats. She doesn't care about walks. She doesn't really care about like nature. All she cares about is treats.
Food. Here's some food.
Yeah, she wants treats and to sit in the creek because she gets so hot. So she just sits in water and wants treats. So I'm pretty sure that a pig would fit really well with my lifestyle because I already have a bulldog. So I'm like, yeah, we want a pig. And Best Friends is an animal sanctuary, so most of the animals have some sort of deformity or handicap, which is my fave. So I was like, maybe I can find one in a wheelchair, and I could get like
A pig in a wheelchair?
they have them. I've seen them at that sanctuary before, wheelchair pigs. So anyway, this is a great side story to the proposal.
Oh, absolutely.
So I tell Sheldon, I'm like, we're going to this animal sanctuary. Like, let's see what we can get. Like, we'll just find an animal. Sheldon and I have a rule in our house where I can have one animal a year. And my animal this year, I'm still waiting on. So I could potentially have another animal.
Does that add?
I
So
guess
like
I would
year
have
two,
to
you have
wait.
two, year three, you have three, whereas like, I have a dog this year.
No,
and
I
this
get
dog is
one
gone,
new.
now I can get.
Every year I can have one new animal.
Okay,
Which
so
also,
that's-
this started out with Sheldon telling me, you already got a cat this year. And I was like, oh, okay, so I get one animal a year? And that's how this rule
Good,
was
yeah.
built into our relationship.
Okay.
So we're headed to Best Friends Animal Sanctuary to adopt a pig. And the animal sanctuary is closed because of COVID, but it's still in like the red rocks. So we're like driving down the canyons and we're just looking out the windows and seeing and stuff. And then Sheldon was like, okay, before we turn around, let's get some pictures. Cause I've been telling him that like, I want some more pictures of us. So he set up my phone and he's like, let's take some pics. So I just wandered around and posed, and the first couple minutes of the video, I'm legit like, I walk to a spot and I like smile, and then I walk to another spot and I'm like, what up?
Pose, yeah.
What up? Yeah, just
Yeah.
posing all around. And then I climbed on top of a rock, and so as Sheldon was like climbing off the rock, instead of climbing off the rock, he just kneeled and proposed. And in the video, I don't know until he has the ring in front of my face, like he's kneeling for a solid 15 seconds, like getting the ring out of his pocket, and I'm still trying to climb down. I'm like, bro, what is taking so long?
Get up here, we're taking a picture.
Yeah, I was like, are we not posing for pictures anymore? So I had no idea, and he proposed, and then I cried for like the basically kidnapped Bountiful. So a really pleasant 5 hours.
So did he know, like, hey, we're gonna drive home, we're gonna go through canal, like, did he have an idea, or did he want to do it in one pal? Did he have any conversation about that?
So the ring is a family ring, and he got the ring back at Thanksgiving. His dad gave him the ring and was like, I'm pretty sure you're gonna marry Miki, right? Like, here's the ring. And he's like, yeah, of course. That's what I imagine him saying. Yeah, of course. So then he talked to my dad in like December, and he said that he's like just been carrying the ring around anytime we go somewhere. And he was like,
Really?
yeah, he was like, I just figured like I would know. Like I would know when the moment's there. So my favorite is that he took it to Denver. We went to Denver in February, which was the worst trip of our lives. Sheldon got some sort of infection in his sinus, and his nose didn't stop bleeding for 3 days, and we had to go to the ER in Denver, and they put they called it a nose tampon. They put it up his nose and blow it up so that his nose would stop bleeding. And so after he proposed to me, he was like, I actually brought the ring to Denver because I thought that like that would be such a romantic trip for just the two of us, which ended up in the ER with like a nose tampon in. He was like, it turned out it wasn't the trip.
How amazing of a story would that be if you did? In Denver,
Wouldn't it be so
nose
funny? Just
tampon,
like
telling your
bleed down
kids,
his
like, I knew it was love. I knew it was love when she said yes because I had this in my nose.
He knew it was love when I like called the Uber driver and he lost so much blood through his nose that I like did not think the Uber driver would pick us up. I was like, it's 1 a.m. We're in Denver. We don't have a car. I have to Uber to the ER and he's got blood just like spilling out of him. And I was like,
jeez.
That's crazy.
it was really funny after.
Yes, after.
When we got home and we were like back in our own bed, we were like, huh, it was a really funny trip.
That was, hilarious.
That whole time we were just like so stressed out. Like, oh, we just have to make it to the airport and get home.
That's great, okay.
I like
So,
that.
yeah, picture, posing for pictures, no idea.
Posing for pictures.
He pulls it out. Mickey.
Out of his pocket.
Mickey Hill,
Mickey Hill.
soon to be.
Not crazy. That's a
Love it.
3 syllables. Mickey Hill.
Mickey Hill. All right, so if we were taking a class, Mickey Hill 101,
Mm-hmm.
right, what would we learn? Give us the history.
Oh.
Where'd you grow up? School, your first job, let's go down your career path.
Okay. So, I grew up in Draper. So I grew up like around the corner over here. And we moved around a lot, but we stayed in like Draper and Sandy area all through high school. So I went to Alta High School. I loved high school, hated college. I think by the time I was in college, I was so ready to be done with school. Did you guys both go to college? Did you like college?
I liked it for 3 years. And then I almost quit.
So why was it the almost quitting point?
Well,
What were you
it was
feeling?
like my last semester, and I do remember, I just got married, and I told my wife, I said, I'm done. Like, I don't give a shit about graduating. I hate it so bad that I'm done. And so I ended up, she convinced me not to, and then I actually called one of my professors and said, hey, I'm not going to take the final. I'm not taking anything. Like, what grade can I get so I graduate?
If I don't show up again.
If I don't show up even again, I don't even do anything. And he's like, well, you've actually done enough to get a passing grade. And I didn't even go to class like the last semester. Like, this is for a couple of
I
classes.
would have absolutely done that too.
And
but,
it was like, it worked
I
out great
stopped
because
reading.
it saved me. Because if I had gone, I probably would have just
What was your degree?
done. It was just business. Just straight up. I mean, it wasn't even hard. That's the thing about
Yeah.
school. It wasn't hard at all.
It wasn't
It
hard
was
for
just,
me
it was
either.
just like a weird point in my life. Anyway, but you answer your
No,
question.
that's
Yes,
I think
was
exactly
quit.
that, like
Yeah.
that weird point in your life. I think that's a good, like a good way to orient yourself because you you're young, and I think that I loved high school, but I think I loved it so much because it made me feel like an adult. Like I could go and I would do work release, and I would go to my jobs and different things like that. So when I got into college, I was like so over that. I was like, no, I don't want to be told how to be an adult anymore. I just want to do it. Like I just want to go out and do it. So I did college for like 2-ish years, and then I just like never went back. And this is funny because I have one class short of graduating, and I didn't even care. I like wiped my hands, done, out.
I'm done, I'm out.
Yeah, so done, and it was a math class, and my older brother is incredible at math. I am terrible with math. I'm really good with like English, but our brains are like the opposite sides. And he always was like, I will do that class for you, just graduate, because like his college degree means so much to him. Like that is such, he holds on to it, it means so much. And to me, I was like, I don't care, I am out. So that's probably something that you would learn, like how to quit in the school of Miki. But I do think that there's value in that. I think that there was a lot of value in making that decision and then still acknowledging like the career that I wanted and trying it a different way. Instead of just being like, well, I'll go to hair school. I feel like that's fairly common. And being like, I don't want to go to college, so I need to figure out another way for somebody, like for society to tell me how to do this, you know? So after that, I jumped into marketing. I went into marketing and I did a lot of communications. So I learned really early on, I love people, and I will do any job that has to do with just people, where I can like get to know you. With marketing, it crosses over into HR so heavily because you're just learning customers, like you're building personas and you're learning about humans. So I think it made sense to me from marketing to end up in HR, like to flip it around and be like, oh, instead of externally building this brand, I want to build it internally. So I think that in my school, the School of Miki, you're going to learn how to flip-flop a lot.
Miki Loveless 101.
101 here. You're going to learn to flip-flop a lot and pivot. I think pivoting with passion is one of the things I always tell people to do. Like if you're sitting in your job one day and you like get really excited about something that has nothing to do with your job, do it. Like figure out what that is. Like the software, find a solution, just anything that piques your interest. Like explore that for a minute, you know? I think that's also why I have so many hobbies. So I think the weirdest things about me that people bring up, we just got very quiet.
Like AC to shut off,
So I do all of my own car mechanics. I love working on my cars. And I think that all comes with just being like, I was interested in one day, like, I wonder if I could fix that. It was my AC went out. And I was like, I wonder if I could do that. And then I got super into working on cars. So now I won't ever I'll take my car in to get diagnosed and then I go home and do all the work myself. Yeah. And so I think that anytime my brain gets peaked, then I build a new hobby. So with gardening, that was one that was this year. I was so curious, I can't even remember how it started, but just seed starting. I was like, what is this thing with seed starting? I don't get it. Why do you start some seeds inside and this whole thing? And I just got fascinated with gardening, the research side of it, where you can just be like, oh, I can dig into this so much. Okay, let's give you something else, another weird one. You would get hurt a lot in my school. I'm incredibly clumsy, and when we first came in, and I was filling the wall for coldness, and I was like, oh, I have to fill it with this one hand I can fill here. I don't have filling in a lot of my fingers because I've gotten hurt so many times.
Really?
So I have scars all over from nerve damage, and so I don't have any filling in these 4 fingers, and so I'm always touching things weird.
With random fingers. Just
Yeah, I grab things weird and I drop things a lot. If I'm handing you, I can't tell if I go to hand you a plate and you grab the other side to it, so I drop it. And a lot of the times, one of the first times I met my soon-to-be mother-in-law, I went to hand her something and it felt like the snottiest thing ever. I think it was the keys to my car, and I went to hand them to her, and she didn't grab them. I just dropped them on the floor in front of her, and then I just felt so embarrassed. I was like,
Let me hurry. Sheldon's mine.
Yeah, yes, exactly. I dropped.
Yeah.
And then I had to explain the whole thing, because I always feel so guilty. I'm like, that wasn't on purpose. I promise I wasn't meaning to make you feel bad. I just have a lot of nerve damage.
Yeah.
I'm really clumsy.
Well,
You would learn no sports in my school. The only sports you might learn would be, no, it's not pickleball. What's the other one?
Tetherball.
No, keep guessing things. What's the, badminton.
Badminton.
Badminton. I like playing
Okay.
badminton.
It's like a yard game,
Yeah, yeah,
but an Olympic sport.
yeah. But an
That's very
Olympic
odd.
sport.
Yes.
Did you ever play that with
And the birdies.
Jim Parker
No, I
in high
don't.
school?
Is that a Alta High School?
Yeah, he was a PE coach.
No, he wasn't.
He was like he was the man of badminton. He was amazing. Like he'll hit you in the face every time.
Your face looks like there's a lot of stories right now. That you
Well, no,
must
he
have.
just, because you went to Alta, I went to Alta, he's been there forever, so I just thought maybe badminton.
That's how it came
Maybe it was
along.
birthed from,
Alta.
yeah, but
It
continue.
probably should be. No, I like badminton because we always played, my family goes down to Mexico every Christmas, and it was like an easy beach game. And so, and I hate beach volleyball. You guys like beach volleyball?
No, I'm not a fan.
I just don't get it.
I just felt like
Volleyball.
you move so slow, and then you start sweating, and then you dive.
Yeah.
There's sand all over your body.
Yeah, and then you're
I
sweating,
don't
so
know
the
why.
sand
I
is
didn't like.
sticking
I never
to
liked.
you.
I never liked the sand volleyball.
I'm glad that we can all agree on that.
Yeah, and when I've seen on TV, all I
That's
think
a-
about is how can they stand there and not be so bugged that there's sand all over their skin. I don't even pay attention to the game. That's all I think about.
And in their toes.
Yeah, their
Practicing
toes.
Their toes.
Yeah.
There's no way you could wear shoes, like any sort of shoe.
No.
Beach volleyball. Okay, let me ask you guys another question.
Oh, you're gonna flip. All right. Question time.
This is now my,
Yes,
this is my
your
podcast.
show. Hey, it's your show.
You're on with Miki here. Have you guys ever ordered oatmeal at a restaurant?
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
Yep.
Both of you?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Hi.
It might be the same place. It might be the same place, Danny.
That's like one of my
Where'd
biggest
you order
pet
that?
peeves.
I can't even remember.
You've done it multiple
I've done it,
times.
yeah.
You're
I
a
ordered-
cereal oatmeal orderer.
No, no.
I'm not even an oatmeal guy. But
Okay,
bear
so go
paw.
on.
the Bear Paw in St. George.
Yes, no, okay, never mind. I was thinking,
Bear Paw in St. George.
what's the other, bear place, Bear Claw?
No,
Well, it's
bear
like
down
bear,
there, there's a
bear tooth,
black bear.
that, or black
Black
bear.
bear,
Black
thank
bear.
you, yes, Bear Paw, yes.
Bear Paw.
I had an oatmeal
Dude, I'm telling you,
The best?
yeah, anybody that's familiar with St. George and the Bear Paw, you go in there, I think it's called like Mother's Oatmeal.
Is it like a fancy oatmeal?
Oh, it
Like,
is-
Can you explain it to me? Because I'm pretty against ordering oatmeal at restaurants.
I'll tell you exactly how it is. It comes out, it's epic. It comes on this huge bowl, right? But it's almost like a chalice. I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
Your
It-
hands are like the size of a basket.
Yeah, so there's a
That
plate,
big of a bowl.
there's like a huge cup, and it's just chock full of oatmeal. And then they have, I think they put some brown sugar in there.
It might even come on the side.
It might even come on the
Like
side.
a mini, like.
And then it comes with like
cup
little
you
milk, but the thing is the bowl's
Like
are
a
huge.
little
Bill.
espresso cup of brown
You see
sugar.
people that are trying to eat it out of the top of the little, like the cup. No, that's not how you do it. You dump it into the bowl, dump all the goodness in there, and then you mix it around. It's actually probably the best thing they have at the Bear Paw. That's what I'm just saying.
I'm kind of shocked by this because I have, it's like a pet peeve of mine, oatmeal at restaurants. I don't get it. I'm like, it is an instant meal. Why would I go to a restaurant and order an instant meal?
Promise me this.
Okay.
Next time you're in St. George, and the next time you go to the Bear, if you've never been to the Bear Paw, it's weird. It's an old, awesome food place.
I think
So-
I have been there.
You know, the chairs are like the chairs your grandma had around the kitchen table, but it's all mixed match, mismatched, like chairs and really good food, really good breakfast place.
Like
But if you go there, just if
rustic.
somebody in the party, not necessarily you, somebody in the party,
Mm-hmm.
get the oatmeal.
Sheldon. Has to
Have Sheldon get the oatmeal,
be. Has to be.
return and report. We'd like.
I'll come back for
you
another
already said-
podcast.
Yeah.
There was one time that a waiter and I had such common views on oatmeal at restaurants that so I asked him, it was on the menu, and I was like, who orders this? Tell me, like, profile, who is this person that orders oatmeal? And he was like, listen, I don't get it. And I was like, you are my people. Like, I don't get it either. And so he we were talking about it for a while, and then he, instead of charging me for my actual meal, it was like, I don't know, BLT or something, so like an $8 sandwich, he charged me for a $1 oatmeal instead.
Oh,
And I
that's
was like,
good, yes.
I
All right.
was like,
Yeah.
okay, buddy, okay. And I was like, okay, that's the one time I'll order oatmeal.
So you,
Air quotes here.
you paid for oatmeal, let's just say.
Yeah, I
for
paid
that.
for oatmeal.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't say that you haven't.
Yeah.
You've gotten oatmeal to pay for it.
The only time I eat oatmeal is when I like go backpacking because it's so easy. You jet boil some
That's true,
water
yeah.
and you throw in some oatmeal and then you're like, oh, okay, fine, I'll eat oatmeal, I guess.
It's a good meal, good camping meal.
It is.
But you guys really threw me on.
I'm sorry, yeah,
you
we
really
just.
threw me upside down with that opinion.
You were
there.
expecting the nose,
Yeah.
you were expecting.
I was like, I was expecting
Absolutely.
at least one of you to be on my side and be like, okay, let's figure this out. But no.
Not after I had that oatmeal, after that, I've had that oatmeal, I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you do it like
Get
they
it.
do it, I get it.
I'm
I'm trying
more
to
for
think of
two.
another weird opinion that I have. I have some weird opinions about things. Oatmeal's one.
I'd like to hear it, what else? Let's hear here's some other odd,
Mickey-isms.
yeah,
Okay. I was trying to, let's see.
any other restaurant or food things?
You know, my beans is the biggest thing food-wise. I won't get even near beans.
Yeah, no beans.
So do you never go to a Mexican restaurant?
I just started going to Mexican restaurants like within the last 2 years because I only realized that within the last 2 years that there are Mexican dishes without beans in them.
Yeah, you can say, I don't want beans, and have
Turns
great,
out you can even say
great
that.
Mexican
So
food,
you
yes.
just associate it and you're just like, I'm staying
No.
away from Mexican food.
So my family
All
goes
that
down to
goodness.
Mexico yearly, and my mom would always be like, "So like, what are you gonna eat?" Because I also don't in Mexico. The way that meat is prepared, it doesn't sit well with me. So like, the whole time down in Mexico, I'm always like a vegetarian and I don't eat any beans. I was like,
Pina
what do
coladas.
you eat? Yeah, pina coladas and cucumbers. They put chili pepper on their cucumbers and like coconut, and it's delicious.
Chili powder
On their
Yeah.
mangoes.
on their
Yeah,
cucumbers?
and on the mangoes too.
I don't love it, but they do it.
You don't love
That's
it.
I don't.
They even put like on sweet, like on watermelon.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. I like that on everything. Even the candy. Like it's
Chili powder on
pepper
candy?
Suckers. Chili
Damn.
powder suckers. Not very good.
Yeah, I would say, I wouldn't think that'd be very good.
I like them all.
Do you both know how to drive stick shift?
Yes.
Do you feel like that's a failing art or that it's one that should be phased out?
Should it be phased out?
I feel like a lot of people
Question.
now don't know how to drive
No, they don't.
stick. Like,
They don't know how to drive
I'm
stick
commonly
because-
the only one of my friends that can drive stick.
Somebody, well, the car manufacturers have decided to phase that out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but
Do you
I'm
prefer stick to?
well, it just depends. Like if it's, I owned a really cool Porsche 911. That was a manual,
What year?
2018.
A lot newer than
Lot
one.
newer. It wasn't an old. It was actually very very new, but very awesome. But it was a manual, and I mean, it was the best car I've ever driven. It's tough. I would drive it every day. I mean, maybe drive it every day, not for like a long time.
The only thing that I hate about that is, about stick shifts is stop and go traffic. Your legs
Oh,
get
yeah.
so tired
I had
in
a
stop
friend.
and go
I had a
traffic.
friend that lived in LA. He had a single cab S10 truck that was a manual, and he had to
That's
go
not an LA
an hour and a half on the freeway. Dude, stop and go.
Miserable.
Oh, it'd be so
No.
miserable.
Yeah, I think that I always search for manual transmission instead of automatic, and I find that they're like getting harder to find, and then like when you're out with people, if I ever need someone to drive my car, like nobody knows how to
Yeah.
drive manual, and I'm like, that is so interesting to me that I feel like it's getting phased out.
Okay, that's
It's another
definitely
thing I
a
have an opinion about.
generational, like,
You wanted to stay.
Yeah, I
It
think
should
that
say.
you become a way better driver driving a manual because there's more that you have to pay attention to.
Yeah.
And if
absolutely.
you're driving, like, I do a lot of off-roading in my Jeep, and it's so much easier in a manual because you have more control over different things going on, but then you get to know your car, like you
Yeah.
understand it more.
Yeah.
I feel like in general, that there should be a lot more car knowledge.
Yeah. It would save
You
lives.
know, like, yeah.
Manuals would save lives too.
Yes, and if you
You
just
couldn't
like,
be on your phone. You couldn't do all, you can't do makeup, you really can't eat.
Yeah, you can't like
Yeah.
talk on your phone or text and be driving and doing all these things.
Save the manual, save lives. That's for sure. That's basically
There's
a billboard.
there's a clothing
There's a
place
billboard.
around here. I saw it coming down here. We could just tell them that we have their new print idea.
Yeah, T-shirt.
Yeah.
Save the manual, save lives. I'm
Just
I'm
have
going
like
with it.
a stick shift in the middle. That could
Campaign started.
definitely be an innuendo.
Okay, we're jumping back in.
To which part? Where are you gonna try to reel us back to?
Out of college, you're doing marketing
Mm-hmm.
for who?
For Anthony Franklin, which was,
Is that the name of the company? That
Yes.
is Anthony Franklin
and
Marketing.
it was like Anthony Franklin Communications.
Okay.
And my dad had started it, and then he was at the time just doing like creative directing, and I was working for like an account executive that he had, and was doing like their go for work. So I was doing I think the title is account executive in marketing. Isn't that also funny, like in different industries, how they mean completely different, since sales
Oh, yeah.
account executive is now like a closer?
Yeah.
But at the time, that meant that I was like their account manager. So I would go meet with the client, I would show them any prints or different things, and that was the only part of marketing that I loved, was like going over and meeting with the people. And they would like tell me all this stuff, and I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I just like you,
Just
tell me
like
more
hanging
about
out.
you. Yeah, just like hanging out with you.
So you're there, you decide, crap, I love working with people.
So my next position
So
was
next was
social media marketing manager.
social media marketing manager.
And that was
Same
in
company?
2000. No, I left. I quit my dad at a family dinner, actually. It was pretty funny. I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm done with this. Like, that was really fun for a minute. I'm out. And I went to work for a company called Perfectly Posh, and I did their social media marketing management.
What do they do? Because I've heard that name before.
Yeah, they're still around. So they're an MLM, and they do beauty products. So it's very similar to like Lush. It was when I was working there, where it would be very similar, like organic products that were focused on like face wash or hair. We were just getting into hair, so it's like, yeah, face lotion, baby lines, like things just, be aware of what you're putting on your skin. And when I started there, it was the two co-founders, and they had, I don't remember his title, but now thinking back on it, he was probably like the equivalent of the operations, like COO. And I reported to him, and we just, like, the four of us, they did everything, and then the only way they had to communicate with consultants was Facebook. And so I managed Facebook, but at the time, it was called social media, but I was really doing customer support, because it was everything, the only contact they had. So it was like, if anything got damaged in shipping, they would reach out on Facebook, but also if they needed training on a product, then they would reach out on Facebook. So it was just everything that the consultants needed. But what was super cool about that position that I learned was that because I was the one interacting with the consultants, the end user, then I could deliver all the trends back. So I could sit there and say like, hey, this, like I could tell our warehouse that packaging was getting damaged on one product way more than another. So I became like a point person where I just was the only person talking to consultants, so I could then bring all that information back to our home team. And I did that for 2 years, a year and a half, 2 years, and by the time I left, it was a training role, so it was less social media, and it was more anyone who was coming internally, I was training them on what we were learning externally. So just reading those trends and then training our people on it, which was really, really fun. And I loved the job, and I did not like the company. And I was like, okay, I need to go find this job at a company that I want to work for. And then I found Team, and I was there for a long time.
Company called Team.
Yeah, a company called Team. When I started, very similar. I was the 5th employee hired, and it was like there was 2 software developers, 2 co-founders, and me. And it was so much fun. So I was there for 5 years.
Did you come in as like a social media? Did you come in and like, hey, I'm going to be your HR?
It was really
Yeah, I mean,
fun.
like 5 employees, you must have done a bunch.
Yeah,
A lot of
that's
different hats.
kind of where I've like learned is a sweet spot, is that I like being, what I was talking about like when I came into this office, is that I love the vibe of blank space. Like come in and you find a problem and you work on it. And so with that company, I went in and I knew that I wanted to get into HR, but they definitely didn't have an HR role.
Yeah, they weren't there yet.
Yeah,
5
there were
employees.
5 people. And so what I had said is like, I can do a lot of things, and just like let me come on and do a lot of things, but I want to work my way into HR. So within a year, they hired the CFO, and he was like, I need HR, and then I reported to him, which was a super cool transition because I don't think that happens very often where you're there beforehand and that still works. You know, like you hire leadership and they're still on board with the plan that was put in place before they came on, but it worked out really well for me. So then I started holding like a specific HR role, but it was still so small that you do everything. Yeah,
What is-
or just wearing a bunch of hats.
What does that company
literally.
do?
Team did, so now Team has been acquired twice. And so the first time,
Okay, I knew one, two, it wasn't the first time.
the first time was WeWork, and then the second time was iOffice. So when WeWork sold them in earlier this year, when WeWork went through their bankruptcy, then iOffice purchased Team.
Okay.
So now I think it's still called Team, and it's Team by iOffice.
Gotcha.
And they're just down over here somewhere.
Are they down just, Thanksgiving Point area?
Yeah, I think
There's
they're
two
in Draper
WeWork, there's two
area.
WeWork buildings in, right there off of.
Oh, over here.
In Thanksgiving Point, yeah, Lehigh.
I don't think iOffice is in WeWork anymore, but I think they're in this area. I think they're in
Yeah.
one of the places down here. So when I was working there, I was there for about 5 years, and WeWork came in and acquired Team, and I went through the acquisition, and then I left because I didn't want to work for WeWork. So I was like, okay, I'm out, and that's when I met, well, not when I met, but when Elisa came and recruited me to go to
So you knew Lisa before that?
Yeah, we knew through Team. She actually was trying to place, for a while, she was trying to place somebody at Team, and then she ended up placing one of my now really good friends. And so we kept in contact after she placed her, of just like, oh, is there anything else that you guys need help with? And then we just connected really quick. So Elisa
Then
and
you just
I,
was love at first sight.
love at first
Yeah.
sight.
Okay.
We always joke. When Elisa hired me, we went on a road trip like a month into me working there
At Christopherson.
at Christopherson, and it was just like the magic on that road trip. Where we're like, we are best friends, right?
Yeah.
This is for us, right? We had a photographer, and
It's like
then it was
Harrison
just
Step
us.
Brothers.
Yes.
We just become best friends?
Yes. I told, there was like really funny. So Elisa and I are very co-branded on LinkedIn. And so there was, when the pandemic started, for some reason, there was a picture that was posted and somebody like made a connection or thought they did that I was at Elisa's house. And so there was like this really funny rumor for like 1 minute there that I was quarantining at Elisa's house.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then I was like, should we make this happen? Like, I will come
Sounds like a
over.
great idea.
Yeah, I was like, I'll bring Sheldon, our 2 dogs, and the cat. This is a great
Soon
idea.
to be pig.
Yeah, and my pig. Oh, I can't wait until I have a homestead full of pigs and 1 milk cow.
So now you're currently at Christopherson?
No, so
No.
I left Christopherson back in October and started
Okay.
consulting. And so I was doing like a jumpstart your people strategy.
Good.
And with the pandemic, I had just completely pivoted. Anytime somebody like reaches out to me, then I'm like, oh, that's what people are needing right now. That's what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of fun. So at first I was like doing traditional consulting, like go out, look for your clients, pitch to them. And then over the last couple months, people are just reaching out with like various needs. And I've been able to like pick up on a bunch of those of like, hey, we're trying to take our company remote. Like, can you help train us about how to have one-on-ones with empathy, you know, in a remote environment, or
Sure.
training on like rebuilding a handbook so that it has like asynchronous communication in it. I've been helping with those type of projects, but right now that's what I'm doing. When Danny texts me, he's like, what time would work? I'm like, I have a lot of
Okay.
flexibility right now.
Yeah.
It's been really fun though.
I do not mean to offend when I say this, but I always remember a line from, I don't remember the movie, but it was Steve Martin when his daughter gets married. Father of the Bride. Father of the Bride.
I love Steve Martin.
Steve Martin and father and his
I know exactly where you're going.
yeah, his daughter's getting married and she's marrying this really cool dude. And Steve Martin says, well, what does he do? And he says, well, he's a consultant. He's like, that means he's unemployed.
That's basically what I'm
So
telling
anyway,
people.
every
That's what I'm
I've
doing
never
right
forgotten
now.
that line. I love that movie. And so I know that doesn't really mean, I mean, people, consultants are very busy and they're, you know.
Well, consulting is
But
so
I
weird
always
right
think of
now.
that.
Like, it's so funny. I always joke, like, I was telling Sheldon, I'm like, I am working so hard and making nothing because I'll do like, there'll be something that will be really, really interesting to me. And so I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. Or I'm really like, I wanna do that. And so it's more about like, oh, that project seems super fun. And then I like way underprice it, or I just do it as a favor because it will be like, oh yeah, you're awesome. And this would be really cool for me to learn. So I wanna do this. So a lot of the time I'm like, yeah, I'm working really hard, but I'm not bringing in any income.
So who's reaching out to you? Like, what kind of people or employers are saying, hey, we need help with this? Like, is it anybody and
Interesting.
everybody, or?
It's what I've seen a lot of. Like a month ago, it was anybody and everybody that was just kind of more in a panic, and they're saying like, hey, because I've been really loud about remote work for probably the last year and a half, and so I think that quickly people were just like, remote work, Miki. Like, I know I need to reach out, and we just don't know how to do this. So a lot of it was like, yeah, panic of just like, how do we do this? Like, what are some basic things we can put in place, or what are these different things? But now what I see is that, and really cool, is that I think people are trying to forecast, and so they're saying, hey, there's so many unknowns going on. Like, there's a predicted second wave of COVID, and that's probably going to come with another like at-home order. So there's all these things happening, and so people are saying like, okay, let's use those unknowns to our benefit, and then let's forecast with that. So like, how can we either do a hybrid model where if we need to have people in office, then we can figure that out, or if we're gonna take everybody home, then how do we build that foundation so that we didn't just put everybody at home, you know?
Right.
So now I'm finding that the conversations are getting back to being more about long-term, like how do we put this into place so that it works? Whereas a month ago, it really was just like, what do we do right now? Like, how can we manage this thing that's happening in this moment? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But it's been a really fun ride too, because I think that I've had a very interesting perspective because I haven't had to be in it. Like, I haven't been in HR. Holding an HR role right now would be, you're just, so much is changing. And so you wouldn't have even a minute to observe, like, what we were talking about of like, hey, if you're gonna bring people back into the office, take a minute and just ask, like, how do you feel? What anxieties are at home? What's going on? And I feel like that is hard for people that are in full-time HR roles right now, and that it's going to be, now they're gonna have to plan with it. They're gonna have to take all those things and say, okay, now we have to humanize.
Right.
Let's flip it. I think it'll be exciting to see hybrid models. That's what I'm the most excited to see, about how people can make
Yeah, that'll be
that
interesting.
work. Like with a physical product where you actually do have to have people in office, how can you make it work so that there's not two separate cultures of remote employees and in-office employees, and they both feel like they have the ability to choose how they want to work, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That just fascinates me
It
now.
would be very interesting to see how this all plays out. Just,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it will be, like, one of the things that I think we'll see that I'm really excited about is we'll see globalization of talent. So I think that you'll no longer look just in your network or just in your state. You'll just say like, I want this person and I can have them from anywhere.
Yeah. I've
So
seen a lot
that's
of
gonna
posts
be
like that on
huge.
LinkedIn, like saying, why are we only looking at each other?
Yeah.
We're working from home, everybody's remote, things are great, we can hire anybody anywhere.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's gonna be a huge one, and then just retention, because it will be so easy. I mean, being in a position, so I'm looking full-time right now, and it's really easy for me to tell what companies I will work for and which ones I won't, because you can quickly say like, oh, that's how they handled the pandemic, or that's how they handle, like, it's very easy to figure out a culture right now where it hasn't been in the past, you know, because you can say, how are you treating your people? Are they at the office? Are you listening? Or how are you doing these things? So I think it'll be interesting to watch it play out, but I do think that it will take a turn where we see it much more humanized, and I think less work too. I think with people being in the pandemic, they're realizing like being in the office and out of the office has benefits.
Yeah.
And so I think you'll see a little bit more of like the push to like be with your families or go on vacations, like live life a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'm here for that. garden a bit more. I'm in.
Yeah, me too.
All right, so let's talk yours and Lisa's project that you guys have.
Meet agreed?
Yep.
Okay.
Has that slowed down? Has that stopped with?
Well, what is that? You said, what's it called?
Okay, so sorry, yeah, meet agreed. Tell us what meet agreed
So
is.
meet agreed is
Me, what?
me.
Like
Mead agreed.
Nailed it.
Mead,
Me.
me agreed.
Degreed.
Degreed.
Like the,
Okay, so you're saying like a degree, like I have a degree.
Yes.
But I'm degreed.
Yes.
All right, got it.
Me agreed.
Me agreed. All right.
And so what it is it's personal branding. And we have been teaching people how to tell their story, of how to tell your career journey, how to talk about all these things that are fulfilling to you outside of work and bring that into work. And it's part of the whole movement of bring your whole self to work, but maybe even the flip side of figure out who your whole self is so that you bring the right version of you.
those people
Or
that,
maybe I shouldn't even say that.
those people that have been a part of those,
Mm-hmm.
if they watched this, would they be like, wow, Miki she grounded herself. Like that was perfect. She brought everything in. It was perfect.
She did
What
it.
would they say?
What's funny is that my brand is like, okay, one thing that's funny, anytime somebody, like lizards, very much a part of my brand. I get sent lizard stuff all the time.
Have you ever been sent lizard skins?
I've been sent lizards.
Lizard, like real lizards.
I kept lizard skin when I was a kid.
What's lizard stuff? Like somebody gonna send you like a heated rock?
Well, okay,
What?
two versions.
What's that
Lizard
mean?
stuff meaning like any article, anything
Okay.
ever that comes out about a lizard, I get
Oh,
all
okay.
of those.
Yeah.
But also I have been sent lizard things before, like if people have a bearded dragon and it died and they don't know what to do with the stuff, they'll like text me and be like, you want this?
Do you want the bearded dragons?
Cage
Cage
and rock
and-
and
oh, wow,
stuff,
yeah.
and I'm like, yeah.
Of course, duh.
Yeah, just drop it off, of course.
Just send me the heat lamp. That's all I want.
I used to have in my townhouse, I don't live there anymore, and in one of the rooms I called it the zoo room, and it was so cool, guys. It had a chinchilla and a Pac-Man frog and 3 chameleons, all of which had been rescued, all of which died, except for the chinchilla was rehomed.
Oh.
Most of the chameleons that came to me were like definitely gonna die, and so I just hung out with them until they died. But I had the coolest tank ever. So it hung from the ceiling, and it was like probably circumference of like 3 feet, and just had like this pole up the middle that would mist occasionally, and then the chameleons would just crawl around in it, and it was the coolest thing ever.
That's not cool.
You could zip it open. I had one friendly chameleon, and if you zipped it open when Capone was in there, he would come right onto your hand.
Oh, really?
Capone.
That's what a chameleon's
yeah.
face looks like.
Yeah.
I can see it. When he does it, that's a chameleon face right there. Absolutely.
You knew it. You knew
Yeah.
it. Yeah, he was a cool chameleon. He was a panther chameleon.
You're saying all these things like a pattern or a cat.
I know. I was like, I get weird with reptiles. I love them. So that's part of my brand.
No.
Little freaks. I'm growing tadpoles right now.
Ooh.
I used to grow tadpoles in my window well as a kid.
Brings me back to my childhood, the
Go
tadpoles.
to like the swamp in the
You're
neighborhood,
growing
just
them.
like,
All I wanted was frogs.
yeah.
Yes.
Grew them in my room.
Did you?
Yeah, in
That's
my
also
room.
all I want is frogs. I'm basically like a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah. This conversation is exactly like
Alright.
right now. Like,
I know.
I want a tarantula. I want a lizard. I want a snake. I want.
And because I drive a 1999 Jeep Cherokee, it's like every teenage boy's dream. I get offered the amount of drive-through people who have offered to buy my car. It's like every time I go through a drive-through, and there's a teenage
Every
boy
16-year-old is
working.
like,
Yeah. Do you have
Yeah,
a
well,
poster?
I know what up.
Do you have a poster of Pamela Anderson in your room? Because unless you
I'm kidding.
don't,
On my way
if
home.
you do, then you are definitely a 12-year-old boy.
It's on the back of my door so I can keep my
If it's
door open.
inside, maybe if it's just
Or your
inside the
ceiling.
Jeep.
Yeah.
You sleep.
Yeah, the ceiling.
That's what my room's been missing.
It
They're
has
trying
been
to
missing.
figure it
Dude, and
out.
I'm telling you, your reptiles will love her.
They're like, yeah, this adds up.
Yes, it does.
Perhaps
Sheldon
you.
might not approve. Actually, Sheldon might
Sheldon
like
Yeah, I
it.
feel like out
He's
of
like,
that,
yeah, I had
he's
this.
like, okay, now I'm in.
Actually, I still have mine.
Yeah, he's like, oh, do you want me to get out of the garage?
Okay, meet agreed. You're helping people find their brand, tell their story.
Find their brand, tell their story. So our last workshop we did, I think, was in January. So it has slowed
Kind
down.
of before everything hit.
Yeah.
It's like how long are these workshops? Like people are coming in for a couple hours or like a couple hours
So
every
we've
month?
been doing a full day workshops where we go,
Okay.
it's a Saturday, which is also like the people who have attended, I just wanna like hug them 22 million times, cause it's hard to give up a full Saturday for work development, you know?
Full days. That's long.
Yeah, and we go it starts at 8 and then we end at 4 and we end with a happy hour, so we just walk down to Gateway and go to Punch Bowl, when that was a thing. I don't even know if those places are open anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
Not anyways.
yeah, and we did that. So me and Elisa and Laura, there's a third partner, Laura Williams, and Laura's the one that Elisa placed at team. So
Gotcha.
like there's our weird little connection there. But the three of us run it, and Laura is a community manager at Gateway. And at Gateway I'm at WeWork. So we do our workshops in her WeWork
WeWorks,
buildings.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we do a booklet, and we basically go through like your core drivers, figure out what fulfillment you're looking for and what drivers really motivate you, and then just like work through it. We work through different ways that you can like look at your strengths and ways that you can like identify your weaknesses and either play to them or play against them. And it's been really, really fun, like to meet people, and it ends up being like a day of therapy because it's just so, that work is so emotional of like just figuring out what you want in life, you know, like where'd you come from and are you fulfilled at work, and if you're not, what areas are you not fulfilled at? Just because your job isn't the best doesn't mean you don't like it, you know, like there's always things that you can bring into it, and just figuring those things out. So we had tried, we looked at doing one virtually, but what happened through the pandemic is we had one scheduled for April, but so have you guys been on Zoom a lot the last couple months?
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, Zoom, GoTo, all that.
All of it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's been exhausting. For me, it's been really hard to like sit on your computer all the time, and I'm doing so many webinars and things of just like constantly, so it's like we just haven't quite figured out what the right medium is going
Yeah,
forward.
full day like on Zoom, that would be.
Yeah, so we haven't figured out quite how to adapt it, and also I feel like that need would be different now, you know, like the personal branding need. And so we're talking about those things and figuring out like where our pivot is, how we can come back and pivot with
Just
it.
follow those guidelines. Get your
Yeah.
mask, get your 6 feet apart, hold your,
Come on, peeps.
yeah.
Yeah, so we probably will start putting them back, but the other part's just it's been crazy. Like Elisa got a new job, so we both were at Christopherson at the end of last year, and now she's at GBS, and Laura is at WeWork, but she got, with all of the craziness with WeWork, she now has like all the buildings in Utah.
You know I have to edit that part out, right?
What? Can you not say their names?
That need to use it.
GBS?
Yeah, don't say it again.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
like, no, I don't know. What words am I saying that I can't say?
I'm just kidding.
It's all clicking in my head now. I'm like, oh, yes. She works for unnamed Darth Vader.
I'm gonna punch Elise in the face. Next time I see her.
You know how many texts I got after that? I'm like, I don't know.
Who knows? I don't know.
But then with Laura managing all those buildings, it's just been like so many pivots where we're like, okay, so now how much time do we all have?
Yeah,
I have enough. I'm like, okay, guys, where are you at?
yeah, let's make this happen.
Yeah.
I think
So-
you guys need to pull that off.
Yeah.
And people will come too. You guys are awesome.
They will
show
come.
up.
The
Yeah.
people will
If
come.
you build it.
They will come.
And the thing is, they probably want to do something out
Well,
of the
that's
house.
kind of what I'm thinking now. Like,
You know, it's like,
coming
okay.
here was nice.
Now's probably a
Yeah, I mean,
a
it's
great
just-
time to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, get out of the house, do something different, even if it's a Saturday. I mean,
That's actually a really good insight. Like, you're not asking as much from people as you would be
no,
6
because
months
before
ago.
it was every day in the office, and now it's like
Yeah.
Saturday, that's tough. But now, no, every day in my house, oh, then I get to go on a Saturday
To learn
do,
something.
yeah, maybe do something,
You know, that's a
do something
really
new,
good
do something
point.
different. I think you could plan on that for sure.
I hadn't
Get
really
people
thought
to
of
spend
that,
all
but
day
I do
Saturday.
think, like-
And I'll tell you what, do it on Sunday.
Yeah, seriously. We actually had thought
Do some
about that.
Sunday
and-
workshops. I promise you, you'll definitely have people come on Sunday.
See, that is actually something we thought about, and we were like, we don't know if we could get people to come on Sundays.
Man, I'll see the culture, you know, the culture
Yeah.
around here, but it's
Absolutely.
changed with COVID even.
Yes.
Like, there's so much more time even on Sunday. And people
Well,
are
not
looking
even
to
just-
self-improvement, they're looking
Mhm.
at physical health improvements.
Well, a big part of
and
it is
they-
mental, so
yeah,
it's
mental,
like
and
we
they
talk
do
a lot
all of
about
that.
mental health.
They focus on those things on Sunday. I've
Mhm.
talked to so many people about that.
That's
So-
like what would be an interesting thing thinking about that is now where we were trying to like, because you're in work all the time, so it's like you're at work all the time, so it's like, okay, Saturday, let's hurry and get it done. But I'm wondering if that we could even do something, you know, like a morning Saturday and a morning Sunday. So now it becomes more of like, we split it, it's not a full day,
Split
but
it
it gives
half
you
day.
a
You're out of
weekend
the house.
almost to have some things to do, because
Yeah.
that is really interesting insight where now it's like more of a, like, yeah, I wanna get out of the house, like give me.
You have to get out of the
something.
house on Saturdays and Sundays.
Mhm.
You have to. I
Yeah.
think people would do it.
Yeah, yep, that's what I'm doing after this podcast. Driving over to Elisa's, hey, it's me, pick up Laura on the way.
Yeah, all right.
Jill, I'll tell her and her dogs hi. She has 2 dogs now.
No pigs.
That's what she did in quarantine. She had, that would be the hardest. She had 4 or 5 puppies at home.
Oh,
Her dog,
jeez, yeah.
she bred her dog, so her dog gave birth like 1 week before the pandemic hit. And so she was quarantined at home with like 5 puppies. Puppies are hard too.
Yeah,
they
I
are.
like old dogs. I'm a pretty big fan of
Five,
old dogs.
one puppy is hard. Or 5.
Be really hard. And they're really, really hard at that age.
Would
when
you rather
they're
have 5
like
puppies
itty.
or 5 piglets?
Wow, that's a question. This is the question, I guess.
That's
Yeah, you gotta answer it. Any questions starts with would you rather? It is-
5 piglets or 5 puppies? I feel like piglets because guess what?
Tell me.
You can litter box train
You
piglets.
can litter pigs, dude. I learned that. You can litter pigs, and then
Uh-huh.
dude, that's the X factor.
Mhm.
Dude, 5 puppies.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you can litter pigs. My buddy Ty Allred that lives in Hebert.
Does he have
Ty,
pigs?
He bought a pig. It was shipped. You know, they bought it from somewhere, another state.
Fascinated by this. Are we going
Dude,
to see a
and it
pig
gets
after this?
sunburned. You have to put sunscreen on it,
Mhm.
and it's trained. It's littered like it's just litter box.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it makes like barking, growling, weird
Mhm.
noises.
And
Dude,
they'll eat like, they follow like little trails of Cheerios.
Dude,
You
yes.
like put them down?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That's me eating them.
Oh, awesome.
They get sunburned. That was the craziest part.
Yeah, Shia, my bulldog, has to wear sunscreen.
Yeah.
She gets sunburned.
Mm.
She's a very high maintenance creature.
Yeah.
I like her a lot, but I feel like she's prepared me for a pig.
I get sunburned.
Or a kid.
I must be high maintenance.
You
Well,
seem high
I'm a
maintenance.
ginger.
You are high maintenance.
I probably
Your nails are pretty clipped. Do you
am.
get
Yeah.
manicures?
You know, but that's this. Don't judge me off of these females. These
I'm
are just
judging you
fresh.
based on everything right now.
That's good. That's good. That's right.
See
You
if
should.
you're high
As you should.
maintenance.
You're doing it. Book by the cover, absolutely.
Yeah, see, like I was like, on my way here, I was like, I probably should have clipped my nails. They're all jaggedy and crazy. That's why I was looking at yours and I was like, yeah,
They're
I
pretty
can
good.
see
They're
you
pretty
maybe
good
you're
right
high
now.
maintenance.
They're pretty good right now.
Make
Actually.
you go and get manicures every other week.
Do I?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Never
Probably
had one
not
in my
maybe
life.
this then. Pedicure?
No, never.
Are you
I think
against
pedicures
them?
would be fun, actually. I don't know if
I
I
would've
would
got a
pedicure.
pedicure the other day.
I would do a
Yeah,
pedicure.
that- I think, didn't you tell me that you do pedicures fairly often?
I do not.
No, you don't.
Didn't you say?
No, I did
Hold
not.
on.
My wife
I
got
thought
one,
you
she's like,
said
"Don't come," and I
that
said,
every
"Okay."
time you go to a Shania Twain concert, you can always do pedicures.
Well, yeah, before, but that's like once a year, you know.
Yeah.
No, Shania.
All right, did I tell you how we end every podcast?
Are we singing?
We are gonna sing. You pick the song.
Oh.
We will harmonize. No.
Will we?
Welcome to
No,
Shania.
yeah.
Benvenido
No.
a mi
Bienvenido a
We
mi
ended-
amor. That's Will Smith.
Thank you, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's how we're ending it.
I forgot, this is your podcast. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. Okay, ready?
No, I can't. We end with, I don't even know what to call them, because there are some other questions, but we end with
We pepper
Would you
you
rather?
with would you rather
Oh, good.
questions.
Would you rather questions?
Okay, I'm ready.
And some,
We just
some
gotta
of
know.
them-
Are they as hard as the pig one? The
Oh,
pig
they're-
and the puppies?
I don't
Pig
know.
was,
That
pig was
hard.
off the cuff though, that was,
Yeah, we got a few. We got a few.
That one was-
Just some different questions.
Okay,
Okay.
throw one at me.
Okay. What set of items could you buy at the store to make the cashier most uncomfortable?
Where did you get these questions from? Did you come up with them?
We make some of them up.
Is that from personal
We search
experience?
we search.
the Googles,
you know,
Googles have a lot.
we tweak some of them, you
Yeah,
know.
we tweak them.
It would have to be something embarrassing, like a fungal cream or something, like if you had like a butt
Hold on.
infection.
So you're saying, so the question is,
So that's gonna make I would make you embarrassed. I would make the cashier.
so the whole point is to make, you're not gonna feel uncomfortable because you know it's like a joke, but you're gonna try to make the cashier feel as uncomfortable as possible.
So what if it was like a fungal cream for your hands?
Yeah, I think you'd have to
Bandage,
combine-
Yeah, okay.
Like it's like something for like having really nasty hands. And
Like, I think you'd have to combine like 3 things together.
Okay, let's
Well,
restart.
and I don't
It's
even know what it'd be. Maybe like, what if you go with like a pack of like
Yes.
glow in the dark condoms, and then you're buying a huge
Like a
cylinder of
Miki.
helium, and then like pig food, or I mean just
Yeah,
like 3
like-
things that is
3
like
things
what
that's so
the
He's
bad.
gonna have
hell,
to connect the
what in
dots.
the hell is going
Yeah,
on?
like he's gonna
Okay.
be sitting like, wait.
What?
Wait.
Yeah, there'd have to be a sex thing in there. So
Yeah, I mean, sex
condoms
is like,
or like
okay, yeah.
oh, KY jelly would be good.
Yeah, like KY
So
jelly.
we do KY, and then there would have to be
You know,
like
like
a
a
bear trap or something.
yeah,
Just,
bear
something
spray.
like-
This would be one of the stores up in Heber that we go to, like near Heber,
pick-
Canis. We'd
yeah.
go to Canis and we'd get a bear
Pick
trap,
3 things.
Garland.
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 Oh my
Utah.
gosh, I could buy anything in Garland and be embarrassed because there's like 10 people, so they would all be like, "Guess what Sheldon's fiance
Yeah,
bought?"
Yeah, they're gonna know you.
So I
She
should
bought
rephrase that.
glow in the dark condoms.
What set of items that you would purchase in Garland, Utah to make a
Yeah,
cashier?
you have to be really specific with me.
Okay, I like it. Okay.
Wait, I'm not done.
Oh, you got more? Okay,
Yeah.
Keep going.
Okay, so KY jelly would be one.
Okay.
Instead of my bear trap, I think I'd do a fishing pole.
Ooh.
Because
yes.
that's weird, right?
That
Like,
is-
how are
well,
they gonna
with
mix
KY
those two?
and a fishing pole.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
gonna get weird.
Yeah.
And then, like a dog collar.
Yes,
Yeah.
that would be good.
Try to put those together and
Something with
like,
a bell on it.
yeah.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, he would be weirded out, mostly with the fishing pole. He'd be like, what? How does this fit in?
I'm gonna ask this question, and then I'm gonna give you what I think your answer would be.
Okay.
Okay. What kind of cult would you like to start? I'm gonna say something to do with lizards. Like you're praying to like the Lizard King.
I've always wanted to be a cult leader. Yeah,
Lizard.
Lizard King, I guess. I have to be,
Yeah.
right?
I just figured that would be a good.
Yeah, and I would do something, my cult would be like something like Carol Baskin, where there would be
Yes.
some lurking murder that my cult all is in on. And we're
Yeah.
like, we have a theory about it, and it's gonna be a whole thing, and it has to do with lizards, obviously, probably aliens too.
Okay. I've asked this
I think
question.
you'd be a great leader, cult leader. I really do.
We would have a hand symbol.
I would follow. It would be like something like touching things, right? This would be like a
Yeah,
hand symbol,
it would be
like
like
this.
the fingers
When
you can
can't
feel.
touch things, yeah, it's like these are the
That's
three fingers
only
I
the
can
fingers
feel.
you can feel.
This is it, right? I've asked this question before, but I feel like you're going to give me a really good answer, so I'm going to ask it again. If you were in public somewhere with your family, friends, and you were arrested for no reason, they had no idea why, police just came and took you, what would your family and friends think you were arrested for?
Stealing dog toys.
It's just in Petco, there's been missing.
No, there was like a
dog
whole
toys.
thing where a boyfriend of mine in the past broke up with me because I stole a dog toy from Petco. So I feel like that would come back.
Oh my gosh.
They would be
yes.
like, it would just be like the whole story where they've all been on my side, and then they would be like, oh, it was real, you did steal it.
They
So would
finally
know,
caught
yeah.
you.
And then they would like drag me across the parking lot, and my mom and dad would be like, the dog toy.
Okay. If you were held at gunpoint and told that if you didn't impress them with your dance moves, they were gonna kill you, would you
Yeah.
survive?
I would dance my heart out, but I think they'd kill me.
You'd be dead.
So on the blind date where Sheldon and I met, I was at a bar dancing at Cheers. You guys been to Cheers? It's like,
The TV show?
have you been to
Yeah,
that
I've been
TV
there.
show?
Yeah.
It's like this hallway bar. It's just a really long bar. And I was at the back dancing, and Sheldon and his friends came in, and I didn't meet them at the bar. I met them at another bar. So like 6 months later, I found out that Sheldon was watching me dance, and he was like, "You are a really bad dancer, but you look like you were having so much fun." And I was like,
So you
"That's
might,
pretty much my
survive
dance style."
just because like
I
you're
have
into
fun.
it.
You might distract them enough by your horrible dancing.
They're like, "She really
Oh my
tried."
gosh, yes, okay. We can't, she's just this poor
And my
poor
favorite
human.
dancer is Shakira, and so I always try to be Shakira, which makes my dance moves like way worse
So
because
you-
I can't
Yes.
move like
You
Shakira.
watched the Super Bowl this last year then, huh?
Shakira and J Lo, right?
Yes.
Huh?
Not a
That
sports
I'm
fan, but
dating-
you saw that.
No,
I'm sure.
I'm marrying a sports person now. I have two
Oh, yeah,
sports
watched it.
teams. The Jazz is one, obviously, guys.
Obviously, yes.
And then I recently became a Raiders fan.
Okay.
So you're gonna be going to Vegas to see a game?
Well, I have two shirts, so.
You have the shirts, so you're Raiders, okay, good.
But when we first started dating, I was like, yeah, I'll be one sports team. But now that we're getting married, I'll take two.
Got to.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you rather have X-ray vision or the ability to always know when someone is lying to you?
Can I choose another one?
Nope.
Nope. X-ray vision
I just don't really care about
with a
either
lie
of those.
detector.
I feel like I don't really care about people lying. That would have saved me in my marriage maybe a little bit.
Well,
If I could
yeah,
tell when
okay.
people were lying.
Yeah.
But long term,
But the
I
thing
don't
is,
know
like,
when X-ray would help
does
me.
anybody, does everybody know I have X-ray vision?
Oh, that's a good point.
I'll say no.
So it's a
You just
secret.
know. You just know. Like I can look
And-
there. Like I know there's.
Yeah, but
I know what's in there, or I know like, hey Brent, can we go biking tomorrow? And you're like, oh no, I gotta go to the doctor. I'm just like, you mother effer. Like I know you're
I
lying
think
to
I
me.
would take X-ray vision because knowing that when people lie would just ruin friendships. And it would ruin relationships. Like I'd rather you lie and I don't know about it so we can still be friends.
That's kind of
Because then there's like, because everybody lies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
well,
it's
sometimes
like
those
you
white,
guys-
little white lies.
Yeah,
are
you can
great,
be
but
offended
it's
all the time and you're never gonna want to be friends with anybody.
Like Father's Day gifts. Like,
Yeah.
do you like that? Yeah. That's
Yeah.
great.
Even though X-ray vision does come across as like little pervy, you know, I mean, it's like, okay, does a dude choose X-ray vision? Well, oh yeah, you know exactly why.
With
But
X-ray vision, can I see through? I guess anything.
you're like
I just
Superman.
don't really get. I guess I do X-ray because then I could see animals anywhere. Like if I was out.
Yes,
So like in
use
my
that
backyard,
for
there's a lot of
good.
owls,
Use
right?
X-ray vision for good.
Yeah.
Yes, go rescue.
Yeah. A
Rescue-
desert tortoise.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'll go with X-ray because I agree. I felt like with lying, I was like, no, everyone would lie, and then I would just hate everybody,
You're
and I
gonna
really
hate
love
everybody.
everyone. Yeah.
You're gonna hate everybody.
Yeah. About stupid things too. Like it would be my mom that lies to me that she doesn't want to come over or something, you know?
Yeah.
And normally that'd be fine because she'd just be like, I'm doing something with your dad. And I'm like, oh, cool.
Great.
But if I knew she was just lying,
Yeah. Every
Well,
time you
I
talk,
might be
going to
offended.
hang out with your brother.
every
Yeah.
time you talk to
Ugh.
somebody, you're gonna be saying,
Ugh.
"Just be honest with me." That'll get tired. That'll be
yeah. Wonder what your little flag would be for somebody lying since nobody else would know, you know? So how would you know?
Ooh.
Just I don't know.
Like your ears get really hot? You're like, lies!
Which body part do you wish you could detach, and why?
Well, that's just very strange.
Well, we wish. What if you? I mean, he's like, what if it's you have to? Like, you have to detach a body part.
Okay, if you you have to pick one body part that you can detach.
Does it work when it's detached?
I'm gonna say yeah because that would be interesting.
Yeah. Okay, then I would detach my arm because I'm super short, as we've discovered many times here, and I can't ever reach
Take that
anything.
off. Hold
So
your arm with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Get that up.
Okay.
Grab.
And it would be so
It'd be a
convenient because
tool.
I always have to, like, in my kitchen to get to the top level, I have to go get a little step stool, but I could just take off my arm and then grab it,
Get the chameleon.
Yeah.
When he's climbed up to the top.
put the chameleon in my hand,
Get-
put my
was it
hand in my hand.
Capote?
Capone.
Capone.
Al Capone.
Oh, Capone. Down.
Al
Okay.
Capone.
Alright, we have a would you rather that we ask all the time, but
Right.
you're
I'll
not,
still
you're not
ask
a big
it. I'm
sports
still gonna
person.
ask it.
Oh,
So we're gonna ask.
And my answer
We'll
won't matter that
I'm
much.
still gonna ask it
Well,
because I think you'll
yes.
understand. You'll
Yes.
understand. You'll understand it.
Yeah.
Do you know who Tiger Woods is?
Mhm.
Okay. Do you know who Barry Bonds is?
No.
Barry Bonds played baseball,
Okay.
and I think he's the all-time home run king.
Okay.
Hit a lot of home runs.
Okay.
And I mean this not to offend. You know what a home
No.
run is?
Yeah.
Okay.
That much I know.
Okay.
Promise not offended.
So Barry Bonds, big dude, big, strong baseball player. So the question is, would you rather take a Barry Bonds home run swing? He takes his bat, a home run swing, and he swings it right to the middle of your back.
No.
Or,
No.
or Tiger Woods, he takes his driver
Mm-hmm.
and he swings it as hard as he can right at your shin.
Oh.
So Tiger Woods to the shin or Barry Bonds to the back?
Okay, I'm going with shin because I feel like my shin has less other areas it would affect. Like if I took a baseball to my back,
You might be paralyzed.
I would be in so much. I mean, even if I weren't paralyzed, like your legs would hurt. You know, like your everything would
Yes.
hurt. But with your shin, it's gonna be like that leg and your foot probably.
Worst case scenario, right? You're paralyzed or you die.
And
From
shin
Barry
down.
Bonds. You amputate the leg. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
you live.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shin. I like it.
Do you guys want to hear a weird story to end this?
Yes.
That I just heard.
I love weird.
So my friend was over the other day and he was telling me about a party he was at, and the party was themed Bye Bye Birdie, and I was like, so what's this like Bye Bye Birdie party? A person at the party when they were younger, they broke their middle finger, and then throughout their life, like they fixed it when they were younger, but it just kept breaking over and over. So they decided to remove it,
Oh my.
and it's the Bye Bye Birdie
Bye Bye
party.
Yes.
They
That's
removed the
good.
birdie
That's awesome.
finger.
You know, and I think that's an old movie.
Yeah.
It is.
Bye
I think
Bye
it's like
Birdie. I think my mom
dancing
made me
movie
watch
or
that
something.
once. Yeah.
It seems like a musical.
I like the
thing.
party idea better than the movie though.
Yeah. I like the party
That's a
idea
good
better
move.
too.
That's a good move.
What a great theme. Whoever thought of that. Being a Bye Bye Birdie
Bye Bye
party.
Birdie. Bye Bye. You could do Bye Bye Arm Party if you took your
Bye
arm
Bye
off.
Arm. I'm trying to
That
think of
doesn't sound as cool.
a would you rather that I could ask you guys to end this.
Ooh.
Think about it. I got a few more for you.
Okay. Okay, you keep going and I'll think of it.
Would you rather have 3 feet or 3 hands?
3 feet?
3 feet.
I'm trying to figure out which
Well,
would
hold on.
be
Where would the third hand be?
I'm just gonna say it's still connected, right? You got like one, then
Yeah,
you got
I'm
2,
picturing.
and then you got another one down just off of your ankle there. You just got a third foot. Or
So
third
on
hand.
one leg you have 2,
Yep.
and the other leg you have 1.
Yep.
I think I'd take 3 feet because I'm pretty clumsy and I feel like a third
And,
foot could help.
and there's no option to amputate.
No.
It's
3 feet,
done.
3 hands. Yep.
It's a living, breathing hand.
Holy
Or
crap,
a
dude.
foot.
I'd go hand.
And it works.
Why would you do hand?
Oh, dude, maybe you could eat more. Like maybe like you could have like 2
Pizzas.
whole like more remote controls. You could be
Pieces
like
of pizza.
remote control on your phone, and I don't know. I think the hand.
That is so funny. Our brains are so different.
Yeah.
Maybe you could
'Cause
eat
you could-
more.
Yeah, you could just do different things. Like you could like comb your hair with like one arm, like because you have 2 hands. Like sometimes you need 2 hands. You just
You might spread it
So
out.
much more stuff. You can
yeah. I think so.
Okay.
And if you were a chain cigarette smoker,
Oh yeah,
Oh, there you
yeah.
go.
I like it.
But in one hand, you can still work with your other hand.
Yeah.
You'd be good.
Yeah, working in the
yeah,
yard.
you work from your computer.
Army.
Oh,
How
that's
fast
a
could
good
you
one.
type?
Imagine weeding.
You could type with one arm. You could be doing something over here, and then you have 10 fingers over here that type.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
The typing one.
Yes.
Because you could totally like
You
be
do.
typing and then have a drink or like whatever.
Yes. Yeah. And you could probably make money. You could probably make more money off the hand.
Do you think I'd be fast with 3 feet?
No, heavy. One leg's all heavy.
I'd slow down.
You have 3 shoes, and where are you
Like,
gonna
you
buy
also have
shoes? Like you
lots
gotta
of
go buy
jump higher,
2.
though?
You gotta buy 2 pair of shoes to just have
Say
one
Chicago.
to put shoes on your feet.
Did I said, could you jump higher?
I like
Chicago?
Where would you buy shoes? And it's like said,
Jump
Chicago?
higher?
Don't you know?
Well, you don't have 2 calf muscles.
I know, but like your Achilles, like maybe that little like
Oh, they do a lot of
Oh.
Achilles
Oh,
cut
dude,
in
no.
Last Kingdom.
You could hide you could put the hand in the pocket if you want to hide it, but you can't hide 3 shoes.
Yeah, in pictures you could put one hand in the pocket and still have 2 kind of normal
Okay,
hands.
that reminded me, I have one for you. Last Kingdom. Have you seen Game of Thrones?
Yes.
Would you rather live real life scenario in The Last Kingdom or Game of Thrones?
The Last Kingdom.
Last Kingdom.
Yeah.
Just because it's just not as
Do I live the whole
not as
time?
gnarly like
Yeah,
the
Game of
dragons and
Thrones is
stuff.
just so brutal.
Am I alive at the end of Game of Thrones?
Sure.
Ooh.
All right, I'll take
Taking
Yeah.
Game of
Yeah.
Thrones.
I'm
As long as
imagining
I-
myself being Cersei, being shamed.
In the middle of the street.
Shame. That'd be really hard for me.
Okay, a couple more. Would you rather always feel like someone is following you or always feel like someone is watching you? Even though no one is.
Following or watching?
Always. Wherever you go, it's either someone there's someone following me, or wherever you're at. Like you're in the shower, like crap, someone's watching me. Like I know somebody's there.
But as long as you're not moving, no one's following you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
watching I
Or you
feel
just
like
stand still for.
If you stand still, you never have the feeling of anybody following you.
that would be so terrible. It's like, okay, so I'm bedridden, but somebody's following me. I think that I would rather have somebody watching me because following implies more physical. Like that they would be like
Yes.
following me close
They're,
by,
close
like
by.
they're
'Cause
watching.
They can watch
I
you
feel
from
like,
a mile away.
yeah, and I feel like if they're watching me, like, okay, maybe I'm a little entertaining. Maybe it's more of a compliment.
Okay, so you love like lizards. Is there anything that you don't like? Do you like hate snakes or tarantulas? Like, is there something that you don't like? Because I have this
Scorpions.
question. Scorpions, okay. I'll
Scorpions.
use scorpions for this.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather be trapped in a small room with 10,000 scorpions
Mm-hmm.
for 10 minutes,
Thank
or
you.
you have to eat 10 scorpions in 10 minutes?
Oh, that's so bad. I think I'd have to eat them.
Eat 10 in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it would be easier for me to kill it, like to eat it, kill it, and then be done, than it would for me to just sit in a room with them.
That's a
Right?
lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That is the worst one though, because scorpions are, like, just thinking of them puts such a little fear in me that I'm like, oh, I don't want to eat one or stare at it.
Okay, last one. Did you think of one for us?
No.
You're fine. Okay, last one. Would you rather have a permanent splinter in your big toenail,
Okay.
Splinter?
splinter,
Okay.
or would you rather have a permanent bad haircut?
Probably bad haircut.
It's not getting fixed. Everybody's gonna look at you all the time and be like, that's a terrible haircut.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd rather go with that than the inconvenient pain of a splinter all the time. Ooh.
I love it.
What'd you choose?
I'd probably go bad haircut.
Really?
Yeah. You have a bad haircut, but like you have the confidence behind it, like I'm just rocking this, man. Screw all
You
you
would be the
guys, I don't
Tiger
care.
King.
That's your
You're
brand.
all
Tiger
in.
King.
Yeah,
You can
that's
make it your
you're
brand.
in.
Yeah, hey, my brand. This is me to greed with
This
this
is who I
haircut.
am.
Yeah.
This is me.
Yeah.
The greed.
Read with that hair.
Miki, Loveless, I have to tell you, like every time that I see you, and even every picture that I see you, I feel like you are like the happiest person ever.
Thank you.
Positive.
It's because of the old man
Outgoing.
Ross. Remember?
The what?
Seattle. I
Oh,
can't
Ross.
ever remember his name, but he was my favorite human I've ever met.
Van Franken?
Oh yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah.
That's bad, but yeah.
I'm really impressed. As soon as you said it, I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's
That
right.
sounds right, yeah.
Or we're both wrong.
Like you see people like fake stuff on social media, like their smile stuff, but I just, every time like I see a picture, like you're genuinely laughing, like you look super happy, but it's always in real life too.
Thank you.
You're awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for
I
being
do feel like
on.
people need to put more of an emphasis just into happiness instead
Yeah.
of just milestone achievements, you know? Like just day-to-day happiness.
Last words. Thank you. Lots of eyes, Miki Loveless.
Thanks, Mickey.
Thank you
This is
guys.
great.
This was fun. It really